Listen up, hockey fans. You're in the right place. A no-hold-barred debate between two hockey fans. Stay up to date on current issues in the NHL, even the controversial ones. Welcome to The Debate Hockey Podcast with your host, Brad Burud.
It's time for The Debate Hockey Podcast, episode 29. Tonight on the show, we'll talk about the NHL Draft. Who are the winners? Who are the losers? What players went higher than expected, and what players went lower than expected. Then we'll dive into the Calgary Flames Carolina Hurricanes blockbuster trade that took place Saturday during the draft. And then we'll talk trades and free agency. What will happen in the coming weeks as we hit the free agency period. I'm Brad Burud, joined alongside co-host Blake Friars for another edition of the Debate Hockey Podcast.
InsideEdgeHockeyNews.com.
Topic number one on the debate tonight. Let's talk NHL Draft. And who are the winners? Who are the losers? Who are the players picked higher than we expected? And who are some of the guys that fell maybe a little lower than it was expected? As a whole, I thought the draft was fairly entertaining. Kind of lacked some excitement. I expected more trades. I expected more movement. What did you think, Blake?
Yeah, I also expected more trades. You know, with the draft being defense heavy in the top 10, I thought there would have been some teams that moved down. A team like Montreal maybe moved down. But this draft really confused me. There's a lot of off the board picks. I mean, the first two were locked, set in stone. Dahlin was going to Buffalo. Svechnikov was going to Carolina, and then there was a wild card with Montreal. Are they going to take Kachuk? Are they going to take Kotkaniemi? Are they going to trade their pick? And they ended up making, I think, which is a safe pick. They took the best center in the draft. He's not going to be ready for 2 to 3 years, but Montreal desperately needed a number one center, and I think they got that guy at number 3. And
they may. It's a risky pick in my mind.
It is. Well,
especially when you have a GM that's on the hot seat, bigger than life. That's why
I think he made that pick. But that's why I think he made that pick, though, because
he likes to make risks.
Well, he's feeling the heat. He needs a number one center. Like I don't know, but if you're feeling the heat though, don't you pick the safe pick? It takes Zadina and get a guy that can be in your roster much more quick. Zadina or Kachuk. I mean, you can't go wrong with either of them. But I don't know. This first round was just it was pretty cool to watch, and you know, Arizona just threw a complete curveball at everybody.
They always do.
took Barrett Hayton from the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, and then everyone went into a panic because, you know, all of a sudden Detroit was taking a defenseman, and all of a sudden Zadina fell into their laps. Now they can't trade a defenseman. That means Quinn Hughes falls down because Detroit probably takes Quinn Hughes at 6 because he's a Michigan boy, and Vancouver scrambles, but. You know, that 5th pick put everybody in a scramble.
So let's say Kachuk doesn't go 4th to Ottawa. Mm-hmm. Do you think Arizona takes him, or were they dead set on Hayden?
I think they were dead set on Hayden. I mean, listening to their GM's interview after the pick, they really liked the guy, and you know that was his go-to guy. But. I don't know, like
I still think they take Kachuk. I do. There's Arizona ties, and I don't know, but I guess that's we can speculate all we want on that. I guess.
Yeah, but I really like Vancouver's pick at 7. They get an offensive defenseman. He's a bit small, but in today's day and age, you don't really need to be big anymore. The game has gone smaller, a lot faster. Vancouver's needed an offensive D-man for quite some time now, and Quinn Hughes and Ole Ulevli are going to be good for the Canucks down the stretch in the future.
So, what's your thought on 14 defensemen going in the first round? Does that surprise you, or are general managers starting to figure out that
well, you got to build. You got to
build from the back end.
You do got to build from the back end, and it starts. Defense wins championships. I believe that. I've always believed that. That's how you win championships is a good solid D core, and then you branch out. You draft your wingers, your centers after that. But it doesn't surprise me one bit. I mean, I knew this is going to be a defense heavy first round. 14, like you mentioned, an NHL record for the most in the first round. But yeah, there's just some great D man in this draft. Darlene, you got Hughes, Boquist, Bouchard, Noah Dobson. It was just stacked.
So, let's talk players.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a couple guys. Let's talk two guys you thought went higher than expected and two guys you thought went lower than expected.
I'm not gonna say Kotkaniemi because I think Montreal was dead set on taking him there, but Barrett Hayton, that's an obvious one for me. He wasn't even projected to go in the top 10, and he jumped up to number 5 with Arizona. And Vital Kravtsov to the Rangers. I've never seen this guy. I think he was projected to go 17 in the rankings all season long. That was also a curveball for me, and then players just started dropping, but those two are for sure the ones that surprised me.
The one that stood out to me, and it's somewhat, I don't want to say it's an irrelevant first-round pick because it's no first-round pick's really irrelevant, but one that shocked me is the U.S. high school kid from Thayer, Jay O'Brien, projected at the Hockey News to be 61st, and Philly takes him 19th. That's a shot in the dark there, and when one that very well could pay off for them.
Well, I mean, with Thayer Academy, you got Jeremy Roenick came out of Thayer Academy, so you got some. They've had a pretty good program there, and there've been some good players that come out of that program. So, I mean, Philly did kind of take a shot, and hopefully they catch lightning in a bottle. But I mean, that could be a risky pick for sure.
Well, who are two guys that you think went much later than you expected them to go?
Oh, I mean, can you say Philip Zadina? I mean, he was projected to go top 3, and he falls down to number 6. And actually, the biggest one for me is Noah Dobson. He fell all the way to 12, and I think the Islanders probably got one of the best defensemen in the draft at number 12. Noah Dobson, Memorial Cup champ with Acadia Bathurst, and he's probably the most NHL ready defenseman I would think that was in the draft. And the Islanders got a gem for sure.
Two that kind of stood out to me. Isaac Lindstrom was, in that Hockey News had him in 14, and he fell to 23 to Anaheim. And then Bodie Wild, who fell a defenseman out of the North USHL, U.S. Development, he fell to 41st where the Islanders snapped him up. And, those are two that fell, I guess, further than I expected them to go. But
yeah.
The draft, that's why we have it. And, we can look at these projections and we can make our own projections and we can do all this. But every team has their scouts out and they do their due diligence. So I guess maybe some of these shouldn't be such a big surprise.
Who's your biggest winners of the draft?
The one team that stands out to me is the New York Islanders.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
They probably stand out as the most obvious winner.
Yeah.
But I mean that's sometimes skewed a little bit in the fact that if I had to say, well, who's a loser, Blake? Who do you think's a loser?
I think the biggest loser of the draft isn't a player that got drafted. It's Erik Karlsson. I thought he was going to get moved at the draft, and
yeah, but we said that at deadline too. And,
yeah, but I'm
just saying,
I'm serious though. But the way that Ottawa's going right now, you would think they would in a draft that's so defensive heavy, right? You would think they would trade their best trade piece for a first round pick and draft a defenseman. Does that not make sense to you?
Yeah, but you're not going to draft another Erik Karlsson.
No, so, I get that. You're not going to get an Erik Karlsson, but you're going to get a good young defenseman in the top 10.
They did get one. They
could have traded. They could have packaged Karlsson to the Rangers and got the 9th overall pick because the Rangers have been rumored to be going after Erik Karlsson.
Yeah, I don't know what we'll talk about that in our other section, but. Winners, I do think the Islanders are probably the one team that stands out to me. Losers is pretty hard to say because, you could say, well, Calgary's a loser. Well, they never even had a pick till the 4th round, but I mean, that doesn't really make them a loser in the draft. It's so tough to call losers when we don't know who's going to, produce these kids, couple things that did surprise me. Overall, in the whole draft, not just the first round, but in the whole draft, defense was heavy, and 70 defensemen were drafted, and that's a lot. And that was interesting. 29 goaltenders. Another stat that stood out to me was how many Swedish-born players there were this year, and how many Swedish-born there were high up in the draft this year. I really see that. Things are changing a little bit with even there's less and less Canadians every year, and I guess you can't say that about the U.S., but it just that was interesting a little bit.
Well, the U.S. development program is pretty much past Canadian, and like it's not even close anymore. I mean, like the young kids that the U.S. develops it's pretty damn good.
Oh yeah, and I think both countries do a good job, and it's actually pretty cool in hockey that we have.
But you know what I mean, though, because
of people, though that's pretty cool.
But Canada, Canada used to be ahead of the curve a little bit, and then U.S. caught
a long ways ahead.
U.S. caught up to them, and now you're seeing the European kind of do a copycat of what Canada and U.S. are doing, and it's great to see. Because there's a lot of great players coming out of Sweden and the other countries.
Good draft. It was a lot of fun. I would have liked to see more movement, but hey, I guess we'll take what we can get.
Inside Edge Hockey News, bringing you inside the game.
Topic number 2 on the debate. Let's talk about the blockbuster deal that took place Saturday afternoon between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Calgary Flames. Interesting trade. Let's roll through it real quick. Calgary sends Dougie Hamilton, defenseman, Michael Furland, wing, and Adam Fox, defensive prospect, to Carolina for defenseman Noah Hannafin and Elias Lindstrom's Lindholm.
Yeah.
Big deal. Kind of shook up the whole day and actually made what was a fairly boring Saturday at the draft entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, this trade is kind of ironic. I mean, Calgary's new coach, Bill Peters, comes over from Carolina, and he gets two familiar faces in his lineup now. But let's roll through the points here, Brad. Dougie Hamilton had 44 points, 17 goals in 82 games, but his plus-minus was only +1. That means he wasn't keeping the puck out of his net. They get a 21-year-old defenseman, went fifth overall in the 2015 NHL, or fourth overall. And was it 4 or 5? I think it was fifth overall. 32 points, 79 games, 21 years old. They're getting a great defenseman. And Lindholm gives them depth on the center. I don't know if they're going to play on the wing or at center, but we'll see. It's a good trade.
Multiple reports on that, but
I heard Bill Peters wants to play him on the wing, but we'll see come training camp. I like the trade.
Think about that. Okay, so let's talk about let's talk about each player in this deal, and let's talk about who Calgary gets first. And let's start with Lindholm. Young player, 44 points, like we said. He's 23 years old. I like what he brings. A lot of people in Carolina said his talent level left them wanting more.
Well, he wasn't going to sign there.
No, he wasn't, and that's why he's moving on. Then that is the twist in this whole deal. Calgary does need to get both these guys signed because they are both RFAs, but reports are that both of them are happy and want to go to Calgary, so that should help the process. Now, Lindholm, let's talk about this. There's been reports that he's going to be on the wing with Monahan and Gaudreau, which would be a good spot for him, but just think about if they put him on as third-line center. Look at this. Hear me out here. Monahan centering line 1. Backlund centering line 2, Lindholm centering line 3, and Jankowski centering line 4. That's 4 big, strong, young centers. Wow.
Yeah, that's you're building a good center core, but I like your point about him being a third line center. But I can't see him being a third line center. He's got too much talent to not be playing that much minutes.
Okay, so let's wait out. Let's look at the model. Look at the Vegas Knights. Look at the Pittsburgh Penguins.
No,
How are they winning?
I
They're
get that.
winning
They have
on
3
depth.
scoring lines. I get that. But
we're not the NHL where you have 2 scoring lines.
He is a third line center if they go out and sign James Van Riemsdyk at the free agency. Because right now they have nobody to play with Monahan and Gaudreau right now.
It would be neat. I mean, I don't think they're going to get Van Riemsdyk. I don't. I'd like that. That would be great. Another guy that, you know what, and I don't have any info on anything happening with this.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe Calgary should dig into this Panarin thing.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not.
Who the hell does Calgary have to trade for Artemi Panarin? You tell me what you are going to package. They don't have a first round pick next year. What are they going to take, a 2020 first for the guy? I doubt it.
I don't know. No, you're not. You can't give up your next first pick.
Tell me what the hell you're going to trade for him.
I'm not sure, but we are strong defensively.
Okay, you just traded your best defensive prospect, so shoot that out the window.
Well, okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about Adam Fox.
Okay.
Let's talk about him. Now, word is Calgary was extremely high on him. I think everybody's really high on him.
Oh, yeah, I watched him play World Juniors. He's good.
Word is that he wasn't going to sign in Calgary. So Calgary cut bait now before they lost him for nothing.
Okay, but do you think that Carolina would say, okay, he's not going to sign with you? What the hell? Why would he sign with us? Calgary's a better team than Carolina.
Yeah, but a lot of guys don't want to go play in Canada. I mean, he's an American kid. Maybe he doesn't want to go up. That's not uncommon. That's not uncommon.
That is true. Good. That's a good point.
That's not uncommon. And they're, you know what? They're not letting a guy like Adam Fox go without some knowledge of this probably not happening.
Yeah, that is true. You just don't give away defensive prospects like that for nothing. Yeah.
Now let's talk about Noah Hanifin in this deal. 21-year-old defenseman who's pretty skilled. He's just starting his upside here.
I mean, his rookie year. He had 22 points, 29 points, and then 32 points. He's getting better and better every year. But boy, how much is this guy going to get paid? That's the thing. They got to find. I mean, I think Brad Treveling's one of the best general managers in the NHL, but boy, how much do you think this guy's worth? I think he's worth around $4.5 million.
Yeah, but I think if you got both these guys signed at that $4.5 million range, you're still sitting good cap wise, and you got a great crew.
Yeah, I mean, but were you surprised that Calgary didn't trade one of their goaltenders in this deal?
No, who do they have to trade there?
John Gillies.
So who's going to back up next year?
They don't have a backup next year. That's the problem.
Well, Gillies will be the backup next year.
Oh, I'm talking about Carolina.
Well,
Carolina doesn't have.
Let me tell you something. Carolina needs somebody better than Gillies.
No. I'm saying they got nobody in their system goaltender wise.
Exactly, but Carolina's going to go get a goalie. They're going to go get a better goalie.
Who?
Craig Anderson's available.
Craig Anderson is not going to Carolina.
Why?
He has a no trade clause. He wants to win a cup.
He's already turned in that he requested a trade.
He's not going to Carolina.
Says who?
He's going.
Where's he going to go?
I don't know.
I'm just saying it's an option for them. Carolina's got to get a goalie, and it's got to be better than John Gillies. And I'm not ripping John Gillies, but it's got to be better than John Gillies. Let's talk about the last two guys in this deal that we haven't, and that's Michael Furland. Your thoughts on Furland?
I like Furland. He's an energy guy. He had really good chemistry with Monahan and Gaudreau. I really like Furland's story. I mean, it kind of hits the heart.
I love his story, but stories don't win championships.
No, I know.
I'm the biggest fan of Michael Furland, but I have a problem. He lacks consistency. He'll be bang on for 2 weeks, and then he'll be non-existent for 2 months.
What was he? Wasn't he an undrafted free agent though?
I don't know. I know he came out of Brandon, the Wheat Kings.
Yeah.
I don't have that information in front of me. But you know what? I mark my words. Last year, he had 41 points, 21 goals.
Yeah.
A career year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to throw my money down right now that that's his best year of his
Well,
career.
yeah. Oh, well, no
he will
doubt.
not have another 20-goal season.
When you're playing with Monahan and Gaudreau, you're gonna get your goals though.
Exactly.
That's what they're saying.
So what I'm saying is the Flames aren't giving up much in Michael Furland.
Well, they are. To me, it's Dougie Hamilton for Lindholm and Hanifin, or for Dougie Hamilton for Hanifin, and Fox and Furland for Lindholm. That's the way I broke it down.
I mean, you could break it down anyway, but yeah. Dougie Hamilton, what's your thoughts there? I think he's definitely an offensive guy, but does he struggle on the back end.
I know there's some mixed emotions from a couple friends that I know that are Calgary fans. One of my friends was a big Dougie Hamilton fan, and he was asking him go. I actually asked him, I said, what would you do if Dougie Hamilton got traded? And he quoted me, and he said he won't get traded. The next day, I sent the quote back. I said he won't get traded. Are you sure? And but
Dougie Hamilton got traded for a couple reasons.
He can't.
He's horrible in the corner.
He's one dimensional. I get that.
Yep,
he's an offensive defenseman. He was the same way in Boston, but Carolina's getting a guy who's only played with two defense partners in his whole career. He's played with Zdeno Chara and Mark Giordano. That's it. You want to know some other things about Hamilton here?
Do you know that Hamilton was the only player to skip press conferences at the end of the year and skip the post coaches meeting?
I
There's
saw that.
locker room issues, and he's been moved out of 2 teams now because of this.
Yeah.
And this better be a wake-up call in his career. It just better be.
I mean, because he's 25. I mean, he's got a long career ahead of him. But I think this is a good trade for both teams. But I think Calgary wins this trade for sure.
Yeah, I think you got to be excited if you're a Calgary fan. You know what? There's a lot of Calgary fans out there tonight that are upset. I've talked to numerous ones, and they're upset. They think this is horrible. But a lot of them just look at things on paper. And this is what I threw in their face. A year ago today, all Calgary fans were saying, wow, look at us. We're great on paper. And they stunk up the joint.
Yeah.
Things on paper don't mean your standings go up. So let's see how this one works for a Calgary, and I think it's going to go a lot better.
But the thing is, from Calgary's standpoint, getting Hanifin, they probably got one of the best decors in the whole NHL now.
Oh, don't say that, though.
No,
year.
I'm serious, though. I'm actually serious because you're getting a young Hanifin who's a good two-way defenseman, right? This guy's ceiling is he hasn't even hit his ceiling yet. He might go out and
Not
score.
Even close.
He might even score. He might go out and score 50 points next year. You don't know. But Calgary's defense, you got TJ Brody coming off a terrible season. He's gonna have a bounce back season, I think. Mark Giordano. Now you add Hamonic. You got Hanifin. Boy, that's a strong top 4 in the NHL for sure.
Got Valimaki coming up the chutes too.
Yeah. And then you got that Rasmussen kid.
Yep, he's a good player.
They're gonna have a lot of tough decisions. And
Kulak's back there. Kulak's a solid third pairing guy.
I think Stone is the odd man out though.
I don't. I like Stone. I'm a huge fan of Stone.
But he's getting almost $4 million in cap,
totally
and it's gonna come down to a business deal for sure.
I'm totally good with that. I don't know. This is tough. We can sit and call winners and losers of this trade, but boy, I sure like what it does for the Calgary Flames.
Inside Edge Hockey News, faking the slapper and going top shelf.
Topic number 3 on the debate. This is going to be a wild section here. We're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about some trades that have happened. We're going to talk about some guys that are available or talked about in trade rumors. And then we're going to quickly roll through the free agents and kind of update what we talked about last podcast there. We better get going. Let's fire away.
Sure.
So trades. Grubauer goes to Colorado and signs today too with Colorado. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, he signed 3 years, worth $3.33 mil per year. I really, really like this trade for Colorado. You're getting a 26-year-old goaltender who was probably one of the best backups in the NHL. He had a 2.3 goals against average. He was 15-10 with a 923 save percentage to go along with 3 shutouts. And remember, this was the Capitals guy at the start of the playoffs over Braden Holtby. So the Capitals were pretty high on this guy. And you know,
Well,
they've had I like this trade a lot because Colorado is getting a good starting goaltender for cheap. They didn't have to give what, a second round pick?
This was genius for Colorado.
Oh,
Colorado's
100%.
got a great goaltender now, a really good goaltender. And you know what? Washington accomplished what they needed to.
Yeah, it was a win-win for both teams. Yeah.
They freed up cap space because guess what? They're
John
going to
Carlson's
sign John Carlson now. He's not going anywhere.
No.
So we're going to see him in Washington, and both teams win this because, you know, Varlamov is not the answer in Colorado. I think we've learned that. And Grubauer, I think, is, because Grubauer is solid and a very well-respected backup in the National Hockey League and actually proved his worth as a starter this year in Washington.
Yeah, and he's played 100 games in the NHL, and he's got a 2.2 goals against average. I mean, that's pretty damn good.
Let's talk some trade bait here real quick, and we'll roll through these fairly fast, and we'll start with some of the lesser guys. And I'm going to throw out a name, Blake. You give me your opinion on what you think will happen, and then we can maybe argue about it a little bit. But Jeff Skinner in Carolina, do you think he's coming, going, staying? What's happening with Jeff Skinner?
I think Jeff Skinner was going out west until Ilya Kovalchuk signed today, and I think that kind of threw a curveball into Carolina's plans, and then they shifted and made that trade with Calgary. I think that was the next step after that. But I think Jeff Skinner will be on the move. I don't think it's going to be out west now. Maybe he goes to the Sharks after they freed up some cap in that Bodker trade. But I don't know.
Is supposedly making a big bid at Tavares. So
I don't know about that. I just can't see them doing that. I don't know.
I don't either myself, but I don't know. I don't really have a beat on what I think will happen with Skinner. Do I think he'll be in Carolina next year? No. I wouldn't. Now, I'm throwing out a complete flyer here. Would he not maybe fit in Montreal?
I mean, he would. I mean, he's a center. He's a winger. I mean, but what's Montreal going to give up for that, though?
They got to get some guys, so they got to be willing to give up something here. Montreal has to make some moves. They have to. I don't know. That's just a thought. I'm not. But
did you see the? Did you see
inside here? I'm just.
Did you see the rumors of that Max Pacioretty was almost dealt to the Sharks today at the draft?
Yeah, but you know what? I don't know. I think there was a lot more talk there than action. Obviously, because nothing happened. Yeah. Pacioretty is on the move. Let's talk him. I don't know what's going to happen though. I think you know what? I think everybody in Montreal thinks they're going to get a king's ransom for Pacioretty because he's
not anymore. You're not
Canadians. I don't think you're going to get that much for him.
You would have got lots. You would have got lots from at last year's deadline because they would have got a year and a half of control for him. But now they're not going to get much from him at all. I don't think.
I don't think they're going to get much either.
But I mean, he came off of the worst year of his career. He had 17 goals, 37 points in 64 games. I think he's going to return to his form, which is a 30-goal scorer in the National Hockey League. I think Montreal will be really stupid to trade a guy like this unless he's not going to re-sign there. If he gives the Montreal Canadiens verbal that he's not going to re-sign, he wants to walk. Then you go ahead and explore a trade for Max Pacioretty, but I think Montreal keeps him because they're just too thin up front.
Another guy, Phil Kessel. He's been talked about a lot lately.
Stop. Phil Kessel's not going anywhere.
I don't think he is either.
He's not people. Okay, yeah, he has a bad relationship with Sullivan. I call bullshit on that because
no, I don't. I think where there's smoke, there's fire, and you know what? Here's what I think.
It's a bunch of talk though. Like if Jim Rutherford or Sullivan would have come out publicly and said so.
No, they would not. They would not sell their player out and come out and say that the coach and one of our best players don't get along. They aren't going to come out in the media.
Okay, if there was a problem, there would have been a trade already. 120%, there would have been a trade.
It's tough to trade a guy when he's putting inputs for you. Here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Why would you trade a guy like that, though?
Just listen. I think Phil Kessel has been a complete pain in the ass everywhere he's been. But teams are willing to swallow it and keep him because you know what?
He scores 40 goals.
You just said it. That's why they swallow it and keep him. But he was a pain in the ass in Boston, and he was a pain in the ass in Toronto.
Okay,
and
but
I think he's a pain in the ass in
that's unfair to say that he's a pain in the ass in Toronto because the media swallowed him alive. He didn't deserve that. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying. I think he is. I think he's a pain in the ass. But you know what? When he's doing and producing, teams it's hard to trade a guy like that. It is. But I'm just saying that's my opinion on it. Now rolling into two more guys. Well, let's talk three more guys for trades real quick. Let's roll through them quickly. Panarin, is he going anywhere or not? I don't think he is.
It depends what kind of offers you get from Columbus. I mean, you don't trade a guy that just had 82 points in 81 games and he's 26 years old. Unless you're getting a king's ransom and you're getting 2 or 3 good prospects for this guy, you're not trading him at all. You don't trade Artemi Panarin.
No, but he's got to want to play for you too.
The only reason why he got traded from Chicago because they couldn't afford him. They couldn't afford him, which makes no sense because he's getting $6 million and they traded for a Brandon Saad who's making $6 million. Kind of ironic, no?
Stupid. That was stupid.
Straight up, it just made no sense.
Panarin, I don't think he's going to go anywhere. But the struggle in Columbus is, when you got a guy that good, you got to have a guy that good that wants to play for you.
I mean, if you want to cash in, you cash in, but I think they keep him.
Yeah, I think he stays too. Rolling on to the next guy, Ryan O'Reilly. You know that I did a little research on this today, and I come to find out that on July 1st, he gets a $7.5 million bonus.
Salary bonus, yeah.
Arizona's very interested, from what I've heard, in Ryan O'Reilly.
So is Montreal.
But no one's going to take him now and pay that bonus.
No.
Because if you take him prior to one, you pay the bonus.
Yep, I think that's going to scare a lot of teams. And
it's going to drive his value way down, too.
It's not going to drive his value down. No, it isn't.
Well, right now it is.
Well, right now, but after July 1st, that value skyrockets because this guy's one of the most underrated players in the NHL.
Except for Buffalo's got to pay out $7.5 million for him. You think they're going to want that back?
A team like Montreal is licking their chops at this guy. I mean, Ryan O'Reilly. If they get Ryan O'Reilly, boom, you got your number one center.
Oh, he's not a number one center.
What? On Montreal, he's not a number one. Yes, wow. He is.
Anybody's a number one center on Montreal right now. Well, they haven't had a number one center since like 92, was it 91?
Oh, I don't know. But I wasn't even alive back then, but I can't say.
I'm ripping on the Habs, but they deserve it because their general managers made some dumb moves. Bringing in Ryan O'Reilly to Montreal would be great, but I don't know if your answer was a number one, but that's my opinion. But now let's talk.
The biggest guy I think on the trade is Craig Anderson. He's the best goaltender on the market. He demanded a trade from Ottawa, but the thing is, where is this guy going to go?
Lots of teams need goalies. The New York Islanders need a goalie.
Which I could see him going there. I could see him going to the Islanders.
I mean, there's a lot of teams. If you drill down and look, there's a lot of teams looking for a goalie. But you know who I got a feeling the Islanders are going to get is
a goalie?
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought the Islanders.
They got to get somebody.
Did you see the Islanders were
Carolina needs a goalie?
The Islanders were gonna trade for Grubauer, but they wanted the 12th overall pick, and that scared the Islanders away.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't trade Grubauer for
Okay.
first round pick either.
Let's talk one more trade person, and then we better roll through free agents. I'm getting tired of talking about this. Erik Karlsson, what are we doing here? Like, I don't know. Are you getting tired about this, Blake? I'm sick.
Yeah, a little bit. I am a little tired of it.
We can't talk about this long.
There were so many rumors about him going at the deadline last year. Nothing happened. Oh, he's going to get traded at the draft. Nothing happened. Oh no, he's going to go July 1st. He's going to get traded. I am getting sick of this. I mean, Erik Karlsson is one of the best defensemen in the NHL. There's so many options for this guy. He has a modified no trade list, and he chooses where he wants to go. But there's only a certain amount of teams that can afford his salary.
I don't know. This is
Like,
I don't even know if I have an opinion on it anymore.
Does a team like San Jose go after Erik Karlsson? Does a team like the Las Vegas Golden Knights go after Erik Karlsson? I don't know.
They would be more likely than San Jose to land him.
Yeah, they got the cap, lots of prospects. Cody Glass, Suzuki.
I don't know.
It's tough to say.
Let's roll through free agents real quick here. And Tavares, I say he's signing in New York. I think it's going to be $11.5 million to get him is what I think it's going to be.
Okay, so what if a team, let's say a team like St. Louis offers this guy $12.5 million for 7 years?
No, I don't know. Arthur Staples of the Athletic.
I don't think he'll be greedy because I think he's a very loyal person. But with the moves that the Islanders have made, they brought in Barry Trotz, Lou Lamoriello's in there. They just drafted. They had a very good draft, and I think he's going to stay there too.
I do. I just think he's going to stay there. There is reports now from Arthur Staple of the Athletic that 5 teams
are meeting with him.
With him, and that's Toronto, San Jose, Dallas, Tampa Bay, and the Golden Knights of Vegas. I don't think Vegas has a shot. I don't think Tampa has a shot. I don't think Dallas does, and I don't think San Jose. I don't think any of those 5 have a shot.
It's down. I think it's down to 2 teams: Toronto and the Islanders. And I think one of those 2 teams. That's where Tavares is going. Maybe Montreal.
Here's the deal, though.
Maybe Montreal.
Montreal's not even in the talk. Here's the deal, though.
They could be a wild card in the talk. So
here's the deal, though. If you're Toronto. And you've got to give up $11.5 million. And I'm just using that as my bar that I think he will be. I don't think he's a 12.5 McDavid. I think he's an 11.5. And that's how good I think he is. Are you willing to take that much of the salary for John Tavares when you've got to sign all these guys? You got to sign Austin Matthews and all these guys. Do you have room for that? Do you have room to build a team?
They got $24 million in cap this year, okay?
I know, but what happens when Matthews gets paid? What happens when Nylander gets paid?
But listen here. Hear me out. James Van Riemsdyk's not coming back.
No, I know
Bozak's not coming back. Plekanec is not coming back. They don't have to sign anybody this year, and next year is the big ticket. You got to sign Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, William Nylander next year.
And how much is that?
If I was $30 million, not a chance.
26 then?
20, probably 20, probably 20.
I bet
probably
Matthews
20.
gets 11.5.
Matthews will get 10. Matthews will get 10. Honestly, I think they trade Nylander. Nylander is the odd man out. If they get Tavares, Nylander's out the door next year.
But you got to remember though, they still don't have anybody on defense.
Oh, I think they're gonna go out and sign a defenseman this year.
But if they go after Tavares, they won't be able to afford to.
What about they might? Who knows? But Kyle Dubas is a cap genius.
Well, he's gonna have to be.
He knows what he's doing with analytics and money and stuff like that. So I think he'll find a way to get it done. But
so Howard, let me ask you this question.
They're gonna take a hard run at Tavares.
Let me ask you this question: how do you replace? If you're willing to give up Nylander, How are you going to replace losing Bozak, Van Riemsdyk? What are you going to do with Komarov?
They got.
What are you going to do with him?
I wouldn't bring him back.
Okay, so where are you going to replace all these points?
You got Kasperi Kapanen, who's a really solid player,
and you're going to have to sign him in a year.
Timothy Liljegren might be ready to come up on the back end from the AHL. He had a good year. And then they obviously.
Well, are you going to sign Jay Gartner again?
Well, he's not a free agent.
Well, he is at the end of next year.
Next year, maybe. Who knows?
Are you going to?
They have Andreas Janssen, who's a dynamite, lit it up in the AHL this year. He's probably going to crack he's probably going to be the third line center next year. They have pieces in their system that can come up and play next year.
You want to know something funny though? They're still paying $1.2 million to Phil Kessel.
Yeah, which is genius because they shedded $14 million with Phaneuf and Kessel with only paying $1.2 million bucks.
They did a great job. They did a great job with that.
That's genius.
But I'm just saying that this is going to be more of a balancing act in Toronto if they get Tavares than you think. I think he's staying on the island. Let's move on to the next free agency.
Yep.
John Carlson, I think he's staying in Washington. You agree? I know. James Van Riemsdyk, I don't know. I think he can
I still think he's going to Calgary. I really do.
Do you?
Calgary needs that big body, and he would be a perfect fit with Monahan and Gaudreau.
I think Boston's going to make the biggest pitch for him.
You think so?
I do. How about Paul Stastny?
Going back to St. Louis.
Says they figure a way in Winnipeg. I don't know why.
It's probably going to cost Jacob Trouba to sign him.
Well, maybe. Mike Green, I think he stays in Detroit. I don't know. He's not going to Washington.
He could go to Toronto.
Then they can't afford Tavares.
But that is a good fit for the Leafs. It really is.
So I know. So what do they sign him at? He's making $6 million right now.
He ain't getting $6 million. Not a chance.
He's 32. He's not. He shouldn't. But you know how these guys are. James Neal, where's he going?
James, he ain't going back to Vegas. I don't think they re-sign him. Maybe a team like I'm trying to think here. I could see the Islanders maybe going after him, to be honest.
I don't know. I haven't thought about that one. There's been so much talk about these other guys. I haven't dove into the James Neal thing. But you know what? Free agency is fun. And next show, we'll really dive into free agency on our next show. The final show of the year will be our 30th episode, and we'll dig into that in the next episode and really drill down on if there's any trades between now and then, and who's going to go where in free agency.
I think there will be a lot of trades leading up to because
don't
there's
say
going to be
that every time we say that.
Honestly, I truly think there is, because X team is going to say, I need to free this much money to go after this guy, and that I think there's going to be a lot of contracts moved.
It'll be fun. It's always a fun time.
It's time for 3 questions.
All right, Blake, another edition of 3 questions. Let's fire away and let's roll through them quick. Number 1, what was the highlight of the NHL awards show for you?
Definitely not that botched magic trick on the Selke. That was not the highlight. I think the highlight was I really like the Humboldt Broncos tribute. I mean, Darcy Hogan's wife going up there and accepting that award, and with all the Humboldt Broncos survivors up there, it was really, really fun to see them come together, and it was pretty sad stuff. But the NHL awards is almost like it was full of tragedies, which made me really upset. But I really like that Humboldt tribute.
I couldn't agree with you more, and that was my favorite also. But I'm going to give some advice to the National Hockey League.
Mm-hmm.
This is a sport full of good stories.
Yep.
All over. positive ones, negative ones, but there is a lot of good that happens in the sport of hockey. So instead of focusing on the cheesy garbage that they always do at the award show, let's focus on the good stories. People want to see that. People feel good when they see that. So focus on that. Moving on to question 2. Ilya Kovalchuk signs with the Los Angeles Kings yesterday. Will he work out in LA? Good move for the Kings or bad move?
Terrible move. He's 35 years old. The guy won't be able to keep up in that division. Connor McDavid's going to be blowing by him every single game. And at $6.25 million, are you kidding me, for 3 years? Absolutely ridiculous signing. That was a desperate move, and that is going to bite them in the ass.
I completely agree. Question number 3 and final question. What should Mike Hoffman do to save his reputation?
Break up with his wife? I don't know.
It's not his wife. That's you know what?
Break up with your fiance?
Really
I don't know.
Stupid thing of this whole thing is
it's not even his fault. It's not even his fault. Like it's like what do you want the guy to do? It's not like
you know what you do?
You really want to break up with the love of your life? I mean that sucks. I mean,
you know what,
lose. I don't know what he does.
You got to be a better judge of character. And if your girlfriend is tweeting ridiculously horrendous and stupid stuff like that, you need to look at her and go, I can do a lot better than you, and move on.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of fish in the sea.
Honestly, that's the only way to do it is just to break up with his fiance.
It shows me that he's being stupid by not doing that. And you know what? This seriously could jeopardize his career.
Which is unbelievable, terrible, because this guy's one of the best snipers in the NHL.
He can save it. You know what? Get rid of her, kick her to the curb, go down in Florida, and play some hockey. Yeah.
That's what I would do. That's a simple way to save his career.
Show the hockey world that you're a player. It
sucks to say it, but I don't know that.
Well, no woman's worth losing your hockey career over. I can tell you that.
Not a chance.
So wake up.
Yeah, wake up is right.
Wake up.
Inside Edge Hockey News on social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Google+. Get connected.
Thanks for listening to the Debate Hockey Podcast. Check out InsideEdgeHockeyNews.com for all your hockey news. Follow us on all forms of social media. And make sure you download the debate on your favorite podcatcher. Check us out on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, iHeart, and YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Free agency now hits full swing. We'll be back in a couple weeks with our final episode of the season. As we head into the summer months, it'll be episode number 30. And in that episode, we'll preview free agency, talk about trades that have happened, and any other hockey news that's going on. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you then.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Debate Hockey Podcast with your host, Brad Burud. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit InsideEdgeHockeyNews.com and on Twitter at InsideEdgeHOCKE and Facebook at Inside Edge Hockey News. We'll catch you next time.
This has been a production of Inside Edge Hockey News Radio, copyrighted and distributed by the Inside Edge Hockey Media Group.